This is that 65 reissue Princeton reverb that did all the work on, put it all together, new speaker cable and everything, and there was a problem in the low end. It was this speaker, this Jensen C10R. Let me show you a frustration with fenders. I've got all four Keps nuts out, and the speaker does not want to budge. It's because they put these in before this paint sets, and so this paint bonds to the plastic on the little gasket material on the front of the speakers. So getting these off cleanly is always fun. Sometimes it pops after a while. Sometimes I gotta get in there with a tool, and I don't want to scar up the black paint and have to do touch-up jobs. I understand meeting a production quota, et cetera, and timelines, but they do this so much, and it's just ridiculous. The gasket is just torn, it's lifted, it's separated. It's not that big a deal. If we needed to reuse this speaker, which we're not going to, we could get another gasket on there. But now I've got to get in here and get all this old cardboard out of here because it's stuck to the paint of this cabinet more than it's stuck to the speaker where it's supposed to live. This Warehouse G10C uses this synthetic cork, much nicer than that layered cardboard stuff on at least the low-end Jensens that Fender's using. And this sounds an awful lot like a C10N from the 60s, which you might find in some Vibrolux reverbs, maybe the occasional Very Lucky Deluxe reverb. It's going to be a fantastic sounding speaker. Let me get this in place and transfer the real speaker cable to it and install it, and we'll get a chance to hear it. I like to put a little zip tie there. It's hard to see, but there's a little zip tie holding the cable to the frame. So if anyone tugs on this cable, the stress is taken up by the zip tie around the frame rather than right on the solder joints. The solder joints are very nice. The last video on this amp, I showed you how it sounded through the ET65 in my shop cab. And then we went to the little Jensen C10R that was in here, and we had to turn the bass way up to like 8 or 9 to get any low end. And we had to turn the treble down to like 3 to make it not take your head off. And then once we did that, the bass was farting out and the speaker was shot. So that's gone. We've got the WGS G10C in here. It will never fail in this Princeton. It's very sensitive. It's going to be very dynamic. It's going to be a great pairing, especially since we did the mods in here to increase the headroom. We're going to start off with the tone stack flat, treble and bass both at 5.5, and just see how it sounds. It's a little bit bright, brand new speaker. Let's turn it down to just below 5. Let's listen to the low end. That's pretty good. Let's turn it up a little bit, just help that 1x10 cabinet out. So just below 7. That should be a nice balanced sound for a wide range of things. Wrong key. That's a good balanced Fender sound. It's got lows, it's got highs, it doesn't get boomy, it doesn't get strident, it's got lots of mids, but it's not boxy, neither is it scooped. That's just a very nice place to be. And if you think that's too bright, some guys do. very flexible, but the tone stack works well with this speaker, which is a good place to be. And for those wondering, why would I even need that? That's 12 watts. That's a great big tube amp. I just practice at home. I do practice and recording late night. If you turn this thing down below 3, it becomes a fantastic practice amp. And I say that as a man who 20 years ago literally had sleeping babies in the other room. And this is how I practice, because this is, believe it or not, quieter than the level of a nylon string guitar. So whether you're just practicing your scales, or you want to practice a whole heavy metal thing, get a whole bunch of pedals with overdrive and distortion and delays and whammies, whatever you need, you'll hear it at this level. Though I do think it's generally a good idea to spend as much time guitar straight into amp, even without the reverb. Make sure you can get a good sound without any effects. And even at whisper quiet levels, that's a good sound, especially now that this particular example of a Princeton is not going to catch on fire.